Oh, so just introducing the quotient rule. It's for when we have a function divided by a function. So very similar to the product rule, and you don't actually need the quotient rule. For those of us who are super aware, we could represent this as 2x plus 1 times x squared minus 4 to the power of -1. So I could use the product rule and the chain rule there. It would be pretty messy though. So rather than doing that and being disgusting and messy, we use the quotient rule. Now, again, we don't need it. I would recommend understanding it at least. You have this rule on your formula sheet, and this is the one rule which I suggest a formula sheet is really useful for in this topic anyway. So know what's on your formula sheet and understand how to use it. The order does matter. Why does the order matter? What was the operation between the product rule? The two terms in the product rule was? You got u times dv dx, something, v times du dx. What's the operation? What's the missing operation? Plus. So, is 2 plus 3 things? Harry. Is 2 plus 3 the same as 3 plus 2? Is 2 plus 3 the same as 3 plus 2? So the order doesn't matter. We can stuff up our u and our v and it really doesn't matter. But for this rule, for the quotient rule, the order does matter. It's really important that we identify correctly which one goes where. So that's why I've decided to use the u and the v here. Just know that it comes up like this in your formula sheet. Nothing wrong with using either method. This is just to keep it consistent with your product rule. This is relatively similar, and that's how it represents in the formula sheet. If I was doing this for myself, I'd probably learn the bottom rule, but I'm happy either way. So in this case, I have to correctly label which variable is which. So which is my u and which one's my v. In this scenario, which is my v?
X squared take 4.
X squared take 4, which is my hx. Okay, so I'm going to write v equals x squared take 4. U equals 2x plus 1. What do we have to do with those when setting up this problem? What's the first thing we need to do? Just on the product rule we need to? Derive them. We need to derive them. I've given one without a chain rule for this one because I thought I'd be gentle. So what's the derivative of v? dv dx? 2x. And the derivative of u, du dx equals? 2. Now just to be aware, I'll do the same thing on this side here, right? So hx is x squared minus 4. H dash x is equal to 2x. Is it? No, it's fx, not gx, so always stuff that up. Fx is equal to 2x plus 1. F dash x is equal to 2. Sweet. Either way is fine. Is there a preferred method? Do you prefer u's and v's, or
So where does the g go?
you prefer the gx and fx? Happy with that? I'll rub the left-hand side off. What's wrong?
Where does the g go? There's h and f.
G is my original function. I'm just giving it to you exactly how it's written in the formula sheet. Sweet. So from this point on, I'm just going to use the right-hand method. From this point on, just so I'm not getting confused. So gx, g dash x, sorry, equals, order matters here, hx goes first. What's going to be multiplied by hx? F dash x minus fx h dash x divided by hx squared. And from this point on, I just simply sub in my values. So hx is f dash x is 2, so I just put that at the front, minus 2x plus 1 times, I'm just going to put the 2x at the front. We good with that? Divided by, I'll leave my brackets again, x squared minus 4 to the power of 2. common factors I can take out? Nothing that helps me. So I'd probably just expand that bottom from that point on. Everything beyond that is just about simplifying and that sort of thing. As long as we understand the quotient rule, but I don't really care about that at this point. I will care about that later on, but at this point, as long as we understand how to use it. Are we good with that? What's it really about? What's this process all about? Is it very similar to the product rule? What's different? When do we apply it? When do we apply it to start with? When we have a divide, not a times, correct? What else is different? Does the order matter?
Yes.
Order does matter. And then from that point on, it's simply about subbing it into our rule and simplifying. Cool? And it would make sense that it's a similar process to the product rule. Why does it make sense? What did I start with? Do we need the quotient rule? Or not? We can use a product in the chain and it just gets really messy. So it makes sense that it follows a pretty similar process. But, same setup. HX, FX, derive it, shove it into our formula, go from there. You will not often hear me say, I want you to rely on your formula sheet. This is one of those examples. Cool? If you see a quotient rule, take the time to get your formula sheet out and do the right thing.